Hey folks, this is Denny.
And this is James from TDB.org.
Yeah.
We are excited to bring you another episode, number 258, if my mathematics is correct. And
Indeed.
we have some Heicha to bring on right now.
Heavenly tips.
Yep. From Hunan.
Yeah, exactly. So this is supposed to be this is from Johnny, and a delicate but forgiving tea with wooey flavors, but surprisingly tipping its hat to a Heicha vibe. So excited to have this. Thank you, Johnny, for sending it over to us for the sample. We always appreciate it. It's so cool to get tea from folks. This is from the UK.
Yep.
Well, this tea is not from the UK, but Johnny sent this to us from the UK.
From Hunan, London. Yeah, this is ooh, smell this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's just such a treat.
Yeah, and so this is a Tianjin tea, and I need to refresh my memory, but I believe that means it comes from like a bamboo sort of stick that's sort of shaped like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really wonderful aroma.
Yeah.
This is a Heicha, just as poor as a Heicha, but it smells nothing like poor.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, nothing. I mean,
it's different.
It's definitely very different. There's a little bit of fruitiness to it, at least from the aroma. The liqueur is really golden yellow. Wow, look at that, almost orange. It's beautiful looking. This is a 2014. It's been aged for a few years to chill out and calm down. Let's give it a shot. Always fun.
Yes.
Cool.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Sweet.
Very refreshing feel in the mouth.
Light so far, but has a bit of an aged flavor to it.
Can you taste any bamboo?
I cannot.
Can you smell any bamboo in this?
I was not smelling any bamboo either. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with the taste and smell of bamboo, so it might be a little bit tricky.
I find it to be a pretty... When I've cooked with bamboo shoots, it tends to be more of a textural thing, but...
Yeah, same here. And I don't know if it'd be fresh with other bamboo, but...
I think this tea is light, but juicy. It's got like a... Well, when I say light, I mean by the sort of texture in my mouth. I agree, it's kind of refreshing in spite of its kind of rounder flavor profile. It doesn't come off as crisp per se.
It has pretty small leaves overall, so we anticipate it to be fairly upfront in how it brews out. Looks like the compression of it's pretty loose.
I'm trying to kind of place the sweetness and how to describe that. It's not that it's floral, it's not that it's like really fruity, but it's not saccharine either. I'm not too sure.
Sometimes for these stevias, and I'm not sure if I'm really getting it on this, I can get sort of like this really artificial, like almost stevia-like sweetness for them. I don't think this one is quite in that category, at least not full on, but it's interesting. The Heicha category is very diverse within it.
Yeah, well, it really has an aged smell and aroma. The leaves are just like pretty freaking dark. I mean, look at that.
Dark
There's still
and
a little
tiny.
bit of green in there, but leaf quality looks like impeccable. Yum. This does remind me of those Heichas actually, though, that we've, or not the Heichas, the I'm looking for. Oh man, can we cut for a second? Who's that fucking Eric? What's that guy?
Oh yeah. The Hunan Heichas.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Glass, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, this does have that sort of Hunan, slight like, kind of like almost, not like funky, but kind of like mushroomy vibe a little bit. Not medicinal per se in like a Dimetapp kind of way, but more of a sort of like an earthy, mushroomy kind of flavor to it.
Yeah.
But not strongly. I don't want people to think you're drinking portobello mushrooms here.
Right. And this tea is from the same place as those Fujian teas, the Hunan teas, the golden flower ones, but this is not that same type of heicha. So.
No.
And the taste is somewhat different.
I think so. I'm really experiencing the sort of like mineraliness of this tea. I'd say so. I think that definitely the wooey vibe is there. It has, and I describe that for me. That is almost a descriptor for the sense of like a vacuous flavor. It's like there should be something here, but I'm kind of like left wanting in a good way. Mineraliness, a little bit of plum sweetness, but the plumminess of this is light. It's almost just like just a little hint of that. But it's sweet. It's interesting. It's not bitter.
It is very sweet all around. There's no bitterness or stringency to it. I'm getting a little bit of wood and yeastiness to this tea, which is a little bit unique. Starting to taste some of those, like, I guess, kind of fermenty flavors.
Yeah, totally. I think the woodiness is a great descriptor. This tea, so some teas we take one sip and we're just like pine needles. You know, it's just obvious ocean or something like that. This tea isn't quite like that. Look at that, get really orange there. So, and that's not bad. It's kind of actually more fun in some sense to sort of sit and wonder and muse a little bit about what's going on for these teas. Yeah, it has a little bit more of a plummy oolong aroma, like a roasted plummy aroma. But in the cup, it's a little bit drier. What do you think in terms of like warming versus cooling, seasons to drink this, time of day to drink this, James? What would the context be for you for this?
I don't know. Kind of like a oolong. This is sort of like in the middle of categories for me. It's not like deep and earthy like pu'er can be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess anytime. It doesn't feel like it's too rough on the stomach or anything like that too. So
yeah.
I could see it being kind of a nice early mid-afternoon tea.
This really does have a strong sense of that sort of wooey vibe for me at least.
Interesting.
A little bit sweeter, a little bit more high notes for sure. Not quite as minerally, but it does have in it a little bit of that oolong kind of vibe.
How about the mom test?
I don't know. Good question.
Not bad.
Not bad. It's not off-putting, but it's not as approachable as some of the other sort of sweet, kind of just like yum, obvious teas for folks out there. I think this would probably be, I don't know. This is kind of a cool tea in that regard because it's delicious, it's flavorful. There's a lot going on. It's complex. I would say it's not super dynamic, and I'm not sure that I'm tasting a lot of differences steep to steep.
I don't think so.
Which is fine.
It doesn't have that sort of deep energy that some pu'ers can give too, but it tastes good, and I don't think there's like a slight bit of kind of like fermenty graininess that I think people will find to be fairly different, but it's not in your face in the way that would necessarily automatically put most people off.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe almost like an oatmeal-y, slightly creaminess to it as well, but not bitter. Almost like a...
You know what? I'm going to give this next steep a bit of a stress test. Let's see how this does. It has not gotten nasty so far. Generally, when I've been pushing it, like that sort of fermenty, weedy thing has gotten stronger for me at least. So curious to see if that's what happens or something else. So reboiled water. We'll let this sit for 45 seconds or so.
Yeah. Nice residual flavors. Really just kind of experiencing the tea a lot as we're talking. Some of those teas are kind of just like a punch and then you're done. I'd say that this isn't like the most full body tea for me. It's kind of just more neck up. It's delicious. I'm really enjoying it. It's funny. So I think it could come off like, oh wow, like these guys don't like this that much or something. I love it. It's just hard to describe.
Yeah, and if that's 258 episodes in, then that's something.
That is something. Let's see here. Very forgiving. Yeah. Well, shout out to Johnny. Thank you so much for sending this over to us. It's always fun to have someone say, this is unique and different, put it on the show, and we do, and we're like, wow, this is unique and different.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't,
that color change dramatically.
Don't feature hardly any teas from Hunan, so it's a treat to do that.
Yeah, this is one of those, yeah. Still really experiencing this tea. Let's give it a shot. This is much more sort of a deep orange, almost red liqueur.
Yeah.
Looking much more like a roasted oolong in the cup.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Really coming into that wooey flavors for me. What about you?
For me, this is actually reminding me more and more, like originally when you talked about the Fujuans from Eric, I couldn't quite get it, but for me it's actually gravitating more and more towards those flavors, so I'm a bit surprised by that. Leaves a really interesting mouthfeel and aftertaste on like just the front of the mouth.
Yeah, definitely. This tea has a lot of body and yet is not very viscous. So we had a white tea on the last episode that had just a lot of mouthfeel, but wasn't quite as strong or potent. This is quite the opposite.
And how would you say the strength, just because we pushed this a little bit hard, how do you think that translates in this tea? Is it like more bitter or astringent, or?
I think that we're getting into those more minerally flavors now, losing a little bit of the sweetness, but it's not more bitter. It's just I think actually pushing this tea was to its benefit because we're kind of unveiling other flavors in this. So for me, it has more of that wooey vibe, more of that sort of those kind of classical, really roasted oolongs. It's nice, yeah. It's different, challenging, and tasty. And I think the cool thing about this tea too is that we're pushing it hard, but it really has not gotten more astringent at all for me.
Right, yeah, and if I were to brew this tea again, this is my first time brewing this tea, I probably would have leaned on it a little bit more heavily early on. I'm using a lot of leaf too, by the way. I'm using about 6 grams for 75 milliliters, and it hasn't gotten strong in a way that, for instance, pu'er would, or like a overbrewed oolong or black wood.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting in that regard. Despite it being called, I think we're looking at that sheet, it's called Heavenly Tips. These are small leaves that you'd think would brew out very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Johnny, thank you so much for sending us the sample to try on the show. We always appreciate it. For the rest of you folks who've done so as well, can't thank you all enough. It's so cool that the community supports us like it does. James, if folks want to learn more about... we do not have a lot of teas from Hunan, but these heichas and just tea in general.
Yeah, we have reviewed some in the past, including apparently episode 174, which I don't remember, but I think we reviewed a similar sort of tea then. So yeah, go check us out. We've reviewed probably 10 heichas in the past. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Why don't you share your experiences if you've ever had Hunan Tianjian before?
Yeah.
I know that Scott sells some. Chawang shop probably sells some too. So if you're looking to check it out, I do not believe Johnny sells tea. If he did, I would shout him out as well. But big thank you to him. And check us out at tdb.org. Hit that subscribe button. Buy this tea for your mom. For a Mother's Day gift. I think that just about concludes it.
We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Cheers.